So, what's your name?
My name's Piers.
And can you tell me a little bit about your educational background, Pierce, where you went to school and university and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I started out at U High in Bloomington Normal, and that's where I went to high school. Then from there, I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where I studied molecular and cellular biology, and I minored in chemistry. And then from there, I did a pre-dental track, and then now I'm currently at Harvard, and I'm a third year in dental school.
So, you've studied a fair bit of chemistry along the way. Can you tell me some of the things that you remember from general chemistry and some of the general chemistry ideas that you are currently using in dental school?
Yeah, I'd say there are definitely a couple principles that have stuck with me. I'd say the main one that I'll never forget is that an inert gas does not change the number of moles of other gases, I think, on other sides of an equilibrium equation. Um, so that's pretty high yield. And other than that, one other thing that I've used regularly as a dental student is how cavities form. All right, so essentially, the way that cavities form or caries is that it's generally a demineralization of the tooth, and so it's all essentially an acid-base reaction. And so as the pH in your mouth lowers, so essentially you have bacteria in your mouth that then when you eat, you essentially feed the bacteria and they produce this acid then as a part of their fermentation process. And then within your tooth, you have these two chemicals, hydroxyapatite and fluorohydroxyapatite. Fluoro is in fluoride, and the fluoride that we have in toothpaste. And hydroxyapatite is soluble at a higher pH. And so, as you can see, when the acid is produced in your mouth by the bacteria on your teeth, then then the pH in your mouth drops and it becomes undersaturated with the hydroxyapatite. And so then essentially that hydroxyapatite is then being pulled out of your teeth, which then make it weaker. And then as I guess the pH in your mouth continues to drop, then eventually you follow this curve where you become undersaturated with the fluorohydroxyapatite. And so then essentially at that point, your teeth have lost all their mineralization. But that's a big reason why it's important to use fluoride toothpaste, is because you want to saturate your teeth with this fluoride so it can form the fluorohydroxyapatite, and that's like the primary component, versus just if you primarily only have the hydroxyapatite, then you'll have a lot less like strength in your teeth, and your teeth will be a lot less resilient to the acid produced by the bacteria. And then once you've then demineralized teeth, they're much more susceptible to bacterial invasion, and they're just weaker overall. And that's then how you get cavities. So that's how I primarily use acid-base reactions in my daily life.
Cool, that's awesome. So, and there's also some things in there that on saturation and solution concentrations and supersaturation, right?
Yeah, so I guess that's primarily it. Maybe it's not actually specifically a acid-base reaction, but there's a bit of that.
Yeah, awesome. So, um, Pierce, tell me some other things that you might have as like general bits of advice for uh, for students studying chemistry or just getting started in university.
I'd say some advice that I have that helped me was starting early. So not waiting, like after you have class, review that material and not waiting till the end or like a few days before the examination or exam to actually learn the material. But if you can learn the material from a class by the time you then get to the next class, then all your classes are just building up on top of each other, and then you'll be prepared and you'll be able to follow it. And overall, you'll get a lot more out of the class than if you just kind of like sit through class, try and like passively absorb it as you go, and then try and like cram it at the very end. So
keep on top of it along the way.
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay. So yeah, so those are great things. So there's definitely some use for general chemistry. What about for people who want to go to dental school or potentially to medical school? Do you have any advice for them?
For people that want to go to med school or dental school, I'd say starting off your first year, definitely focus on getting good grades and being involved academically. I'd say don't overextend yourself, because you don't want to, like, it's good to be involved and obviously you have to be involved, but I think it's important to, like, ultimately your GPA and your MCAT or your GPA and your DA make up such a big portion of your application that you can't afford to sacrifice those. And so I just like say, get your academics under your belt first, and then like obviously you need to get involved, but then from there get involved. But definitely go to off hours and reach out to your professors and do whatever you can to make sure your academics are in line, like right from the start.
Yeah, it's hard to recover once you've fallen behind in terms of that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Piers. I appreciate you taking the time today.
I got you.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me come on.
No doubt. Okay. All right. Nice to talk to you. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.